So you all have an agenda in front of you. Normally the chair would run the meeting, but we don't have a chair yet. And we can't really vote one for one without Mark and Amy
Sure.
being here. So I'll just go ahead and kind of run the meeting. So on the agenda, the first item is review of the minutes, and I did not take minutes. So
Quick review.
This could be a quick meeting.
So I have to change, I'm gonna move that I'll bring the minutes to these minutes and the previous ones to the next meeting. So,
And was that the meeting that I was at last time? So we're talking really short, really long. Yeah, a year ago. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I haven't missed anything since.
so I
Good.
have to
Do those minutes.
do those minutes, and
Okay.
I have to watch the video and see what we talked about, because I do not remember. I asked Jen about it.
The secretary, but when we also.
Absolutely. Well, it's normally Amy, and Amy wasn't at that meeting either. And so, and I, we were talking, and I kind of just forgot to even really write anything down. So I have to kind of watch the meeting again and do that. So, mea culpa, is that what you say?
Mhm.
Anyway, introductions, we've kind of done that. That's easy. City Hall construction and parking update. So I just want to give you quickly, everything is going to remain the same as last summer with the construction. The difference is that they'll be doing inside work mostly, which is good. One of the concerns was the power, but I think you might have saw yesterday that they had been working on the power.
Oh, that's what that was?
Mhm.
Okay, so I thought it was. Okay.
Yep. So Rusty doesn't think we're gonna have issues by the time our market starts. We're hoping, can't guarantee it, that there will be a little bit of parking there that they've blocked off. But we're not sure.
Will the fences all be up and still, I just wonder if people will think, oh, I can go use the bathroom in the city hall or whatever.
I think they will still be up.
Okay.
Yeah. But I did talk to the Legion, and they are super generous this year in letting us park as almost as many cars as we want. Last year they limited it, but this year
I think it's so generous.
as long as we have a different, I don't know.
Coffee shops.
Well, and I asked early.
So the car, you
there
don't
was
have to
some-
worry about the coffee shop.
Well, and there was some communication issues that on my part. And so this year got a hold of them early, got it approved. And as long as we have the permits like we do in the car windows, we're okay to. And so that's again why we changed the hours to 11 to 3, because all those cars have to be gone by 4.
It works for them. So it's not like it even inhibits them.
Yep.
Good.
Because the previous year we did 12 to noon. I'm sorry, noon to 4, and cars weren't leaving, and I just didn't want to have any of that overlap.
Okay.
And it seemed most of the vendors liked the hours. I mean, I don't know that customers like it so much, trying to, but
didn't you say in the last meeting, there really wasn't, when you looked at it from 3 to 4 metrics, it didn't really justify it.
it didn't.
It kind of slept
changed
off,
in
I
them.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is it now? It's
11 to
back
3.
11 to 3.
And that's okay with vendors as far as being able to get there?
Yeah, we didn't have too many issues. The only issue was one that always was a little bit late, and she lives fairly close. So it wasn't the Portland people didn't have an issue. And in fact, they liked the earlier end time, so they could pack up and get going.
Originally, we liked going later because we thought that people would get off work and come to the market, but I don't think it actually worked out that way. Yeah, it wasn't that much.
By the time most people are getting off work, they go home. They're tired, That's the feedback
So I don't know if we can go down this road, but so did you find that last year people would like for their lunch break, come to the market, grab lunch and all that?
Some people.
Oh,
So it really.
especially
worked
with
out.
Malia's truck there.
Yeah.
And she made deliveries for a while. So I don't know if what her plan is this year. I think it will depend on staff. But, yeah, she would deliver, to some of the businesses.
I think she increased traffic in the market by like,
Absolutely, a
Yeah.
lot of local,
Yeah.
she has a lot
Yeah.
of local followings.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that was good. Um. I think that's all I have on that. I don't know what the hours are going to be for the new coffee shop. I don't know if they're gonna be open or closed on Tuesday. So I don't know what that's gonna look like. But I don't know if you guys know this, but that's a private business. I mean, that's private. So parking isn't free. Even if a shop isn't open.
Right.
Right, that's all.
Say that a different way.
Yeah, sorry. So, that's not public parking at all.
Reserved for
No.
that building.
But people do think it is because they're like, but the coffee shop's closed. Why can't I park here? And I'm like,
They need a
because it's
sign.
private.
Because it's their parking.
Yeah.
They have
They
to
still do
reserve.
it. People
Oh,
still.
yeah.
people still do it and it's not enforced. It's not like somebody comes and,
Yeah, I've never.
No,
Oh,
because the owner has to enforce it.
Right.
So,
And they have-
and
Yeah,
they,
I can tell you from experience, you have to call a tow company and then you have to call the
Yeah,
police, tell them if you're
right.
towing them
yep.
and then deal with the aftermath of.
Yeah.
it's a lot of
listening.
work.
It
So
is.
I've really just tried to not be negative about it, but just sort of like ask people, but part of the problem is a lot of people that stop really quick to park there, they're using the restroom because there's really no parking. And then they'll see our market and then they come over. And so then it kind of turns into this, so I'm,
So crazy idea on their
Mhm, yeah.
behalf, since if they're closed. Does it, to be good neighbors, does it behoove us to put some cones there?
they do. Ryan has put cones there or
But I'm
has,
even thinking about at the, like, what's the Sleepy Monk, so people don't park there, because Ryan's on the other side.
he owns that because he's the shareholder. It's not
Oh,
it's not even up to the coffee shop.
okay,
It's who has the most space is the owner,
okay.
and he's put cones up. So lots of
Okay.
cones, actually. Or he has his employees park there, and that's where it also gets confusing because people see other cars park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, but we do have, Liz at the History Center has allowed us to
Oh, yeah.
park there. So I'm always, and we made a little, Jen helped me with some parking maps. And so often when people pull up and they ask where they can park, we have those at our little, at our
That's
place, so.
Yeah, I've never seen that.
The other thing that is going to sort of be new at the information center area, not information center, our information booth is, once a month or four times, students, I don't know what they're 4-H, I think they might be 4-H. They aren't able to sell their things at the Astoria market anymore. And so they approached me with it and I said, once a month, we'll let you sit at our information table because you can't sell things in the market. As you guys know, it's food only.
Mhm.
But we sell our merchandise. And so I'm going to let them,
Oh, that's.
and it's kids.
and what kinds of things are they selling? I'm just curious.
I'm not positive on that. It's things they've made.
So it's not like,
My food.
the cow they raised, here's
No.
some beef.
No.
Okay,
No. It's mostly, my understanding is it's a little bit of art.
crafty stuff. Okay, all right, great.
Good.
So as far as applications, I will tell you who I've approved so far. What I've been doing is I have been really pushing vendors who are returning to get signed up. I gave them till the 15th and most everyone did except for about 7. So I'm trying, I know.
Oh, stop it at 7.
I-
How many do you have? 9, so 2 did?
Huh?
Okay, sarcastic. Go ahead.
So let's see here. I'm gonna go into manage my market because that's where they apply. And I really hope these people get back to me because honestly, I'll read you the list of people who've signed up that I'd like to approve,
Mhm.
Approved. Okay. so far. We have A and B Farms, that's the berries. Baird Family Orchards, Peaches, Bamford Bake Shop. That's not bread. Well, they have the cakes and
Yeah.
they're the ones by Malia's.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. Buddha Cat Winery, Cranberry Kitchen, Ewing Young Distillery. So I have signed up 3 distilleries and they split. So, Ewing Young will be there 3 times and then the other 2 will be there 4 times.
Will this be in the minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to notes. I'll put it all in. Gales Meadow Farm, she's always the first booth.
Yep.
She's been doing it forever. Kingfisher Farms,
Yep.
they've signed up for a double booth.
Good.
Malia's Grill, double booth. Notoriously Nuts, same person who sells her nuts. Oliver's Gourmet, they only signed up for 1 day and I reached out to him and I was like, is that it's what you wanted? I know he had staffing issues. And they actually signed up for just the first market. And Baird can't be there the first market. So I'm just gonna put them there and
Sure.
yeah, so
Yeah.
olives and
Yeah.
Rain Shadow Provisions, that's actually used to be Columbia Bar.
Mhm.
So they sell black truffle vinegar or reduced
Mhm.
whatever, so black truffle something and energy bars, kind of, not really energy bars, they're just good for you bars.
Truffle isn't a candy, not the truffle,
No, like
No.
like the mushroom, like the
Mhm.
tuber.
And maybe it's
So
maybe
energy
I'm
bar and
saying-
truffles,
maybe
that's
I'm
weird.
not saying truffle, maybe it's not truffle, maybe it's just mushroom.
Okay.
I don't remember.
No, it's black garlic. I'm totally making this up.
Black garlic, I remember that guy, black garlic. Wow, you should have given her that energy drink, Bob. She's definitely,
Black garlic and then energy
Yeah.
bars. Yeah, I didn't buy any.
still doesn't really make sense, but
Yeah, I don't,
Well,
I
yeah,
don't know.
truffle.
I just love
I'm so
truffle.
glad we're taping this.
All right, River City Flower Farm,
Okay.
same group. Spice and Tea Lab. So he sells his spices. He is not allowed to sell tea when the other tea person's there, but that person has not signed up. So I'm going to call her. He also sells Durant's olive oil.
Mm.
So has that, I mean, I haven't been on the market for a while, but so that's changed. You can sub somebody else's stuff. It doesn't have to be your production item.
I don't think so.
What are
I-
the,
I would have to look at the handbook.
because I remember, because the handbook was, you have to be the producer of the
Yeah.
item.
I didn't never change that.
Yeah. I'm just
Okay,
curious.
I will look into
I still have
that.
editing the handbook.
Hmm?
Am I still updating the handbook?
No, I already did it. 'cause
Oh, okay.
There were no changes, yeah.
So do we need to address that now? Like if the handbook says you can't?
Got it, because I do have another person who has applied to sell olive oil
But is it their oil?
that I don't know.
They're all, it's right.
I mean, even Durant doesn't, only like 10% or less is theirs anyway. I mean, just as, even if they showed up, technically it's not all theirs.
Their liaison,
But
what is
they
your
are
feeling
local
on
sorting.
that?
Well, yeah, but that's not their oil. I mean,
Well, it's
Well-
partially their oil.
I mean, that's a discussion. I mean, I'm the culinary liaison. Throw that out there. Dave, What do you all think? What do you all think?
And just a little, you guys probably know this, but Bob and Lenore like started the market or helped start the
Yeah.
market, so they have, knowledge.
There was a lot of pushback from the community and one of the big things was, well, that's not fair. I make mine and they don't. And so it was a thing then, but is it a thing now?
Think it's
I don't think so. I think people want variety and this is what I'm trying to give them,
So just devil's advocate.
yeah.
So what happens if somebody wants to come to the market and they don't make any of it? They're just basically like a retail store on wheels.
Mm.
Cause that's really the door we're opening. You can't say no,
It's
but what we could say is a percentage of what they sell has to be theirs. They can augment, but they have to be the core business
Mhm.
just to get past that.
Uh-huh.
And
Because I do
under the
think-
And I think also augmenting by selling produce or whatever from somebody else who's also local and small.
Yeah, and that would
rather
allow that,
than
'cause
Commercial.
do you remember the first time? Because when Jeff Trineri and I got into it,
Yeah.
because Kingfisher was actually buying their spring mix at the time from organically grown. Because he said, well, I
Oh.
can't compete with it. And I said, but you can't do it. He says, well, it's all mine. I said, no, it isn't. It says organically grown. That's my thing. And they told me they stopped to you
Yeah,
before they came to me.
I wasn't paying attention.
Well, it's neither here nor there, but again, I like the idea of if they're representing their core, you guys just decide on what percentage,
Mhm.
because we gotta have some kind of a standard.
Mhm.
Right.
Because it also came up,
Good with that?
I'll tell you
Yeah.
something else
Yeah.
that came up, and I would like to be a lot more clear about it. And I did talk to Jonathan Hoffman about it, and I'll tell you what happened. So we have a couple vendors who, to help increase their sales, and branding. So one was branding and one was to help increase the sales. The flower people sell soap, that they make, with their flowers, lavender,
Who did you say does?
Autumn and
Autumn and
River
Zest.
City Farms.
Oh, okay.
So they would
Mhm.
sell their
Yeah.
soaps along with the flowers. And then Sasquatch Mustard, who hasn't signed up this year, she was selling her t-shirts because it
right,
was for
that's right.
branding. And
Yeah.
talking to Jonathan, he would put on his vendor hat and was like, it would be really nice to be able to do that, because sometimes you just don't make enough money. So, but it would also we would have to.
Well, that fits in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That fits because they obviously
does.
didn't make
Okay.
the shirt,
Right.
right? So from my perspective, and I want everybody's opinion, I think that's fine. I
Mhm.
think that was something I thought was actually kind of missing because, I mean, you guys sell farmers market branded items, and you don't make them.
Yeah.
I think, but what percentage should be, we make versus we augment?
20.
20% augment? Okay, so 80% made.
I like
And
that.
And how do you track that then?
Well, you hold them to an honor system
Okay,
And
so
they-
keep honest
and-
people honest.
and tell them
And
to
it can
let you
get
know. I mean,
conspicuous if they're not.
did it. Malia sold t-shirts or shirts,
Mm,
you know,
sweatshirts.
for branding. I think it's actually good for the market because it brings people back,
Absolutely, yeah.
you know?
And I always let the nonprofits sell anything
Yeah.
because that was that's fundraiser.
Mhm.
And so that's where, yeah.
Okay, so 80% made, 20%. Do we need to second it? I second that. I think it's a great idea. You second it? Okay. It's passed. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all like official.
Okay, that's great. Stone Barn Brandy Works is the next distillery. Sweet Treats by George.
Who's that?
That's the candy. He's, I don't eat it because it all has nuts. They're like kind of candy bars.
Okay.
Brittle, it's brittle.
Oh, I don't
Brittle.
like that either.
Oh, I saw that guy. I
Yeah,
remember that guy.
yep, yep. Yeah, his grandpa is actually George, and
Are you
he's
sure
like
it's brittle?
90. I'm sure it's
It's not,
brittle.
it's not really. it's not
Because
really-
it has nuts,
It's
see?
chewy.
See?
Oh, sure.
TBS Honey, he will be selling his honey again. We did run into some
Funny guy.
issues with people writing us letters, Astoria Market, and us saying that this guy doesn't have his own honey,
Mm.
blah, blah, blah. So
Mm.
we did some research, we looked into it. He actually got, according to Ron, I think is the owner,
Yeah.
got a lawyer because he felt like he was being
Picked on.
defamed by other honey producers. And it may be now, maybe it is this 80-20 and
So let's go there for a second if
Sure.
we can. So when we originally did the market, we did site visits to verify, and we actually had a couple places, like an orchardist had no orchard.
mhm.
And so, yeah, really. And so you're out. So is that my job now? Are we gonna go and
We
verify?
could,
So here,
yeah,
should I be looking for hives and honey production then, in this case?
Lee.
Okay,
Have them show you.
yeah.
Talk
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
And he
Yeah.
buys a double booth because he sells popcorn. I personally, I would love to not have popcorn at the market. But he's been doing this.
Is it messy? Why?
I
It's
don't know.
tchotchke. It
It's
kind of
just-
makes it cheapens it.
Yeah, I
So
don't,
that goes back to what's the consistent selection we're using when we pick a food vendor? So I appreciate what you're saying and I don't disagree, but how do you,
Lover, I'm sorry.
And they sell it.
we used to do this all the time.
I know.
So
I,
So what is the,
for me, with that, he has literally been at the market, I think, since the beginning.
You what?
They have been at the market literally since almost the beginning. And so
For a long time anyway, yeah.
so I haven't ever wanted to.
well, I gotta read the handbook again, but I guess since we're talking about it, if you don't mind, just give me, like, indulge me for a second. What is the selection criteria for a new vendor or a vendor? So in other words, if this guy just came to us with popcorn, on what grounds would we say no or yes?
I don't know, and that's
He
a good
grows his
question.
own
We can, for me, so far, it's been, we've just had a bunch of repeats, and then it was their product, and then it was first come, first serve, and then it was also talking, we had market manager meetings, and we would discuss vendors and, so that's,
So how do you
Yeah.
feel, put your lawyer hat on for a minute, if I'm this guy and he was just coming and we said no, and he said, why? I said, we just don't think that popcorn says Cannon Beach Farmers Market. How would you feel about that?
I mean, especially because he has all these years behind him.
Well, I'm not saying delete him now. I'm trying to get an understanding of what we do for new vendors, but then this falls in here too.
Well, I mean, if you establish new criteria for picking vendors and you apply it consistently
Yeah.
and it knocks out the popcorn, then, and we can really build a case for that, show how everybody else fits within the criteria except for the popcorn, then he's got to live with that. I
Yeah.
mean, we have the right to change the rules,
So I'm not advocating getting rid of him because I think, what we remember is, it was like pulling teeth to get anybody to come as a
Mhm.
vendor. And I think it's awesome that you have him. So I'm not advocating getting rid of him, but I am trying to figure out what should we create? It would fall upon me and then you guys would say yay or nay to it. Should I create a criteria for new vendor applications?
yes, I think that
That's
would
a
be
great
great.
idea.
And I think one of the things going back to early days, we had Kingfisher, I think maybe from day one, and they were sort of our anchor source
Yeah.
for produce, but we were always looking for more produce
Yeah.
vendors. And
He was buying it all, wasn't he?
No, just the lettuce,
Just the lettuce, oh.
little,
which would have been okay now with the new rule of 80-20.
Mhm.
yeah.
But then I wonder about this. Is he selling honey or is he selling popcorn? I mean,
Both.
which is
Both.
the 80, which is
No,
the
it's
20?
separate.
He
Booths
has
side
two.
by side.
He
Oh, and he
pays
pays for two. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
well, that's a good point, though.
Yeah.
And that's where the criteria comes in, because if we say 80-20, the booth of honey, if 80% is his and 20 isn't, that's fine, but he's not making he's
popping.
popping the corn.
Yeah.
So technically he
I think
is, because
that's
people
about-
aren't, making the chocolate for the chocolate chip cookie.
Putting the glop on, whatever.
I guess.
All right, so let me work on a
Yeah,
criteria.
and the only reason, it kind of goes back to, for example, distilleries. So when I started, what I was told by Philomena was the committee had decided that they didn't want 15 booths of alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is why we
Yeah.
do the distilleries this way. That is kind of back to with popcorn and sweets. And I don't want a market full of fair food either,
Right.
And that's when you ask why I didn't want the popcorn, that's kind of what, I just don't want a bunch of sweets and candy and all that.
Well, I hate to be this guy, but so on that note, do we have?
That's just me.
No, hold on.
No,
But
that's-
from-
it's a
so,
good point.
so that's the kind of
Space
thing that goes back
something.
to mission statement, philosophy, guiding principles
Mm.
of a business. And if we have those, we could say, well, see, if you go back to our mission statement, it clearly says that contradicts our
Didn't we
mission.
have one at one time?
We still have,
We-
one,
we do.
yeah. I think what would be what I should do is, send you all the handbook,
Yeah.
Please,
Yeah.
okay.
and then we
I'm
can
pretty
talk
sure
about
we
that.
have.
And I'm just trying to create the consistency sign.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And how it sort of worked before, and what Philomena taught me basically was, I took everything to the culinary liaison. So I just sent it all to Jonathan and he made the decisions.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, and I would assume my role is to make a suggestion and you guys vote on it. I don't make the decisions.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll create an argument
Yeah.
pro and talk pro.
Somewhere in
and con.
between there.
Yeah.
I think that,
Cause
I
I,
don't remember whether there was a hard and fast line between what was just up to you. But I think that there are some things, if look in the handbook. But it seems to me that there are some things that are either at your discretion or the two of you decide can,
and that's true.
and you don't need.
That's in- that's
You
in
guys
the
comfortable with
handbook.
that?
Yeah,
Okay,
That's in the handbook.
all right.
Oh, and
And then the other thing
Put
that's in-
something else into this about the honey and the popcorn. He also sells some salve that has CBD and honey and maybe some other.
I know this
stuff,
guy. We bought some of his salve.
Which I have used.
It's CBD?
Yeah,
I think.
for my
yeah.
back. It didn't do anything, but yeah.
Yeah, maybe it was just,
But it goes back to, he doesn't make that because he doesn't have a CBD license, clearly.
Yeah.
Can't do all that.
I don't know.
Well, the
What do you
rules-
need for it? This is non. I
Doesn't
even.
have
Or no
THC in it.
THC, just
Yeah.
the
No
CBD.
THC, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what those rules are anymore, but anyway.
Also, in the
Okay.
handbook, it does say that if a vendor wants to appeal our decision, they certainly have
Yes,
that right, but it's still up to our committee.
yes.
We still have the final say on everything. That's just how it's written. But when you see the handbook, you can kind
I'll
of.
take a look at it.
figure
Yeah, I just want to make sure we're consistent so we can defend
Yep.
whatever we do.
That would be helpful because I do have another oil person who's been trying to get into our market, and I didn't let him in last year because I already had Durant or
Yeah,
The guy with the
this
Durant
place.
stuff.
And we're such a small market that that's the other thing, it's to our discretion, is that we don't want,
Space.
because
We won't.
if we have 6 egg people, nobody's making any money. I have two people that were selling eggs, but that was.
So this opens up a Pandora's box a little bit, because like when Steve Sinclair, he
Mhm.
doesn't make that wine. He's just the wine shop coming in. And so he wouldn't qualify for this as a new vendor. And the distilleries, how do are they the distillery or are they?
I think 2 of them are, and one of them, I don't.
Just sells
I
alcohol.
think she just, but they've been there forever. So maybe it's where maybe there's a
Create
clause,
new-
it's only on new.
And if they skip a year and they reapply.
Yeah.
Then they would be considered new.
Yeah, right.
So
Right.
if they, okay.
for
And we
for your
ran-
information, in case you didn't know this, but you probably did. It's no longer Steve, he sold that business.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I
Okay.
know all that.
And they
But I
are,
was using him as the
Presumably-
example.
They would still be grandfathered on the fact that it's still the same business.
Same business
Yeah.
supply. Yeah, absolutely. I
and
agree.
he has worked out with Buddha Cat Winery that she sells mostly fruit wines and
right.
and she's
Yes.
not allowed to sell her Pinot. And that was the other thing that happened with one of my Wild Roots, the distillery. They started making wine. Again, that's the person. I don't know if they're an actual distillery. Buddha Cat talked to me and I said I shut them down.
So, and I don't want to dominate this, but this is kind of helping navigate. Why is that a problem? If 2 people are doing wine and I like that wine better, I should be able to buy that wine better. Are you worried that Booty Cat in this case would have left, well, that's crazy. I'm leaving. I'm not gonna do this if you're gonna have 2 wineries.
Because there was already 2 wineries and
Well, but
Yeah.
I'm just using that as a platform, whether it's a winery, well, we want to get another produce guy there or person, not guy, but a person.
Yeah.
Does that mean, but you can do that. That's gonna impact Kingfisher Farms.
I did have another produce, a wake
I
shed.
know, but I'm saying there's an inconsistency
Yeah.
there.
That's-
You either, if you're
you're
having one
making a
of
good
something,
Point.
yeah, you're having one of something, you're wanting something. Otherwise, you should have 2 olive oil, you should have 2 wineries. I mean, what does the group feel from a criteria standpoint, high level? Is that a rule we should be enforcing with new vendors? And we're just gonna turn somebody away because we already have a winery? And in this case, it's gonna make the wine?
Yeah, I remember this discussion with Philomena about
This is
how,
all I've been taught by Philomena.
yeah,
so-
and I can't remember exactly, but it was very early on in my tenure. And the discussion was that we really, for some reason, we were kind of in danger then of having too many that year or something. And the feeling was we didn't want to become like Seaside Market where you walk around, it's all lit, it's all alcohol and candy. And so we really wanted to be different and have more produce and more of that kind of
I don't think
market.
it's wrong to
No, and
limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't
limit
either,
to
but there's two, yeah, but what I'm hearing is, and you bring up a good point, you bring up a good point, everybody's bringing up good points. There's a difference between the market committee saying, I think from a mixed standpoint, we don't want to be all alcohol. I get that. But from a consistency standpoint, so we're sending a consistent message. Is the message is we're trying to have a nice blend of vendors? That's one thing, and that's what you're saying.
Mhm.
Versus, no, we already have a winery, so you can't come. The response should be, we only want winery because we don't want this to become alcohol driven. This is other things driven. I mean, it's how we talk about it consistently as a group.
Mhm.
And then I can put that into writing.
Yeah.
We can decide the mix, because I don't want us to get to the point, well, 10% of what we do is alcohol, 30% is, food to go. I don't want to get into all that.
Yeah.
But
and
we got to have a
it's-
consistent messaging.
It's hard too, because you're dealing with vendors and
They come and go.
what they want, what they don't want. And they all kind of worked among themselves mostly to have these agreements in a way.
Mm.
And that was sort of what was handed to me from Philomena was these are the decisions that were kind of made between the vendors. So Buddha Cat didn't have an issue with selling fruit wines, but she did have an issue.
With the distillery doing wine, because that
Mhm.
competed, and they talked amongst themselves. And please talk to you.
Not on that one, but I went to the distillery and I said, you signed up as a distillery and I have 2 wine people selling wine and I
Yeah.
can't, and they were fine. They were like, oh, okay, got it. Same with the spice and tea. Now that was one that was Philomena helped facilitate, but they sort of agreed amongst each other.
Well, then go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, why is it that we just don't seem to keep in line with the Manzanita market? I mean, aren't they pretty popular and
Mhm.
they get a lot of people coming? And I've heard people around here say, well, I just wait for the Manzanita market.
I can tell you 100% why.
Okay,
There's
okay.
there's probably 3 top reasons. Number 1, it's on Friday, and the timing of it is 4 to 7.
Okay, so we're.
Number 2, they have way more room
Yeah, they do.
to have more vendors. They have
Especially
twice.
now that they moved
I
Totally.
was pretty
off
sure
the
it was
highway.
something about
I mean,
space.
off the
Yeah.
main street.
Space, and it's also dinner time, so people
Yep.
do it as dinner
Uh-huh.
Entertainment.
and
Yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah,
Friday
and
night.
they go because there's
Yeah.
nothing to do on a
Yeah.
Friday, and
We
it's
can't do
fun.
that,
What?
Group
make it
Friday.
later. No, make it later.
But that's a future topic if we want to talk about that, like
Yeah,
change the actual day or hours. But
right.
this, if you remember, Tuesday became the thing because all the vendors we talked to, that was the only open
That
day
was
they
the
had.
only opening
If
day.
we
Open
change,
day.
if we change,
Oh, yeah.
and I'll tell you, Seaside, they were later and they weren't getting the lunch business. And so she changed her hours, that the food carts, again, they have more room. So they have 4 food carts and they changed, those are open at noon. So people go there for lunch now. And so we don't really have that luxury. I have space for 1 vendor because I only have electricity for food.
We're open that early though, too.
We're open from lunch, 11 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay. so we
And that was the
found
other thing
good
that we
question.
found is a lot of people wanted lunch at 11. And when we were at noon,
Yeah, okay, that's
So,
good.
that
Good to
was-
So we fell into it and
mhm,
it's morphed. Okay.
mhm, yeah.
Right.
And
All right.
so that was that. But no, I think these are all things that, again, I'm just kind of going off what had happened for the 8 years Philomena was there. And so
So if we could all agree at least, and I guess I'm talking to you since you're
Yeah.
the one taking the applications, until I get that done,
yeah,
let's talk about it, you and I at least,
Okay.
and let's not just assume a no or a yes based on previous criteria, because now we're trying to fix that.
Right.
And it may be the same when we're all said and done,
Mhm.
but let's not just assume it's the same as we
Right.
move forward
Right.
for vendor selection.
We kind of ran into this a little bit with the smoked salmon.
Mhm.
one, she never had enough product. Tuesday just wasn't a good day for her. It was way easier to go to Manzanita for
Yep.
her, blah, blah, blah. There are several things, but she did voice a little bit of concern that one of our vendors also had smoked salmon. And so I went to him and I talked to him, and he was like, I think the more the merrier. He's like, I don't care, And so you have some of those vendors who are like, bring it on, my product's better, you know what I mean?
Which is
Or
unusual because her product is like incredibly stellar. So the fact that she was worried and she sells out.
that she was totally worried. She just said, I'm surprised there's
It's-
another vendor here that
Mm.
sells smoked
We're
salmon.
small. I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to put something back in. You were asking for consistency in about the ways that we treat different categories.
Mhm.
I don't think we should be stripers. I think we want to say, okay, we opened this, created it in the first place to be a farmer's market where you could go get fresh food grown by the people that were bringing it in, not exclusively. But that's sort of our core.
Priority.
Mhm.
And then we also have some better flowers, liquor, fruit,
Yeah.
fruit bars, whatever.
Can I say something really quick too? You also have to remember that we are so different than all the other farmers markets because we bring in way more tourists.
Well, to that, I was going to say, it's really laudable to say we're bringing fresh food into this community, but it's at a price point that a lot of locals can't do.
Absolutely.
And so the people who are coming into the market are tourists who don't have a kitchen back at where,
Okay.
and so that's
yeah.
the balance, I think,
Okay. Fair.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking to make it what it was when we opened it.
Okay.
Because I think, it's grown up along since then. And I think to
Yes.
everybody's point, we thought it was going to be where the locals go to buy produce. And now we've got fresh
Mhm.
foods and we've got,
Organic and,
Yeah.
sustainable. and-
yeah, we were very pretty high and mighty at the beginning. So I think we got real. So yeah, let's be real.
I take the point.
We need a community garden, that's what
Yeah. well,
Remember, that was part of
Remember
what
Chris
we
Nolan?
thought it was going to be part of this
Anyway.
overall.
I know, high and mighty.
Do anything.
Topic for another day.
Yeah.
But back to you, but Bob, just to make sure I'm clear, the consistency I'm talking about is I'm not looking to kick out all the vendors and start over. I think I know. I just think I only worry, and she's the lawyer in the room, but I came from the corporate world. And I know that if you don't have something that you could stand behind consistently as how you made your decision.
Create that for us.
Yeah. I'm going forward. I want to be consistent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The hummus stop. Again, that's a whole nother one that, I don't, they've been there forever, but I don't know. if Somebody's in a mess, and they're,
Mixing hummus.
You could go look. They probably give you some hummus.
But again, it goes back to, they sell so much and people love it. Like people go
The
and.
good news is we're looking to keep the grandfathered in.
Yeah.
So we're not looking to change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Then the Wine Shack and Wild Root Spirits. So so that's who is signed up and approved so far. These are all people that we've had before. Then I'm gonna go to people who have applied and I haven't contacted. There is a sunflower seed gentleman who I would like to bring in. He did it last year. And so I'd like to bring him in. I just haven't told him how many dates. So I feel like he and another vendor that I'll tell you about should also be grandfathered. And then from there.
They were last year. That's good. Not for me.
Okay. I just haven't approved him yet because, so I'll just read the list of names and then we can kind of look at that. So All Exile PDX, and I'm not sure what they are. let's see here. And this is new. This would be a new person. Products. Chilies. Chili crisp and olive oil. So it's another, it's like looks like a jar. So like a hot pepper jar.
Oh, chili crisp, that's like condiment in the jar.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's see. Approve dashboard. Then there's this new one. I approved him last year, but he never could come. So I'm not sure if I want to.
Who is it?
I'm looking up the
Oh.
name, sorry. Our Chorus Elixir. And his product is a beverage.
Sounds like cough medicine.
Yeah, it's a
Alcoholic?
carbonated, no, it's a
It's a carbonated
carbonated beverage. It's not alcoholic.
So, okay, so what would happen if so when we were EVOO, we had a black and blue sauce, our everything sauce.
Mhm.
And it was our recipe. And then we went to a manufacturer in Portland because we didn't have the ability to make it shelf stable, et cetera. But it was my recipe, my everything. So basically it was mine, but I wasn't making it now.
Mhm.
And if I went to the market, would I be allowed to come?
Well, sure,
Well,
I think.
I didn't make it.
Well, a lot of these people have manufacturers.
Yeah,
Like the Sasquatch mustard or whatever.
Even Amy's product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
I just have to take that into account.
Yeah.
I think it's good for the person who is sponsoring the product to have that behind them,
No, I know. I'm asking the question. So as I sit down and document it,
manufacturer.
right, as I sit down and document, I just want to know where I'm going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Blind Coffee Roasters, he was there last year. I just haven't decided how many dates I'm gonna give him, and he does do his own coffee.
Okay.
Cesar's Farm. I
They were there one year, weren't they?
don't
I don't know.
know.
Produce and flowers, I thought.
They have vegetables, eggs, and sweet fruit. So, because Kingfisher and Rivers to Mountains, which they haven't applied yet, but I would keep them. I may add another vegetable vendor,
I would be all for it.
but I want to know,
Because even
This-
when Josie's was there, they just don't all carry the same stuff.
Right.
but this is one I'd want to know, for sure, because I did have a berry person come in and he did not,
Grow the berries.
Is anybody else carrying eggs? Bringing eggs?
To
to
us.
mountains to rivers, but the egg people haven't signed up yet either.
Okay.
I'm gonna call and see if they're gonna come back this year or
Okay.
not.
Were they there before Caesar Farms?
That's what I was
Josie,
saying. I thought they were.
what?
I thought they were at one
Josie?
point. No,
No.
Cesar.
Caesar.
I don't know, not in my time.
Okay. There used to be people there with the best cherry tomatoes.
And I think I'm with you on that. Yeah.
They say that their products,
Sweet.
asparagus, broccoli, eggs, cauliflower, beets, cherries, nectarines, onions, peaches, pears, radishes, plums, tomatoes.
Beautiful.
sounds good to me.
Now, are you gonna have a problem with Barrett's?
Might actually
You're
buy
gonna have a
it.
problem with Barrett's because they have nectarines and peaches?
Well, I think that again, I don't know how I've always handled it is I've just been, these people are grandfathered in and this is I would tell them, don't bring your peaches. You have plenty of other stuff to sell.
I think that's fair. Particularly if.
And
they
what I say,
some-
you know what
if
I
they-
say,
if
and I've
they
been-
don't say anything, maybe.
Yeah.
You don't have.
I've
to.
been really, what I say is, and I think they see it. We're such a small market. You have so much other things that you can bring, maybe, but I've had people bring, I had an egg vendor in Rivers to Mountains just started bringing eggs, and I was like, well, but no one complained and I loved
Well,
it.
yeah, and again, I'm just trying to, I get I know Barrett's, I know the family, and they're just peaches, right?
Mhm.
And that's one
And
thing.
And some,
But Kingfisher, he's like, well, I got broccoli. How come they got broccoli? I was here first. You know, where it gets kind of, but a produce vendor is all about produce and it's not just one thing, whereas Baird's is just peaches.
Yeah.
And so,
That
again, I'm
is
just
so-
trying to understand the argument in my head.
I think that is stone fruit.
Oh, they do, yeah, like nectarines, that's right,
Yeah.
yeah, nectarines, pears, plums. Whatever. Okay, all right.
Um,
I forgot how much fun this was.
I'm getting hungry.
I know, yeah, I mean, mostly my big reasoning is they were first. You're new, and we are such a small market that I give priority because that's just how I've done it. And I haven't had a ton of pushback. Only this
Yeah.
olive oil person gave me some pushback, and then the Seaside Market called me and just said he's a great person. And I was like, I'm sure he's amazing. That's not what for me, it was what was a precedent that had been set when I started was Spice and Tea couldn't sell tea in this vendor. And I felt like to bring in another olive oil vendor when that's all he was trying to supplement because he couldn't sell his tea. I didn't want to, it's just.
Well, you and I can talk about it
Yeah.
offline, that's fine. Because like the Olive Oil Company in Cannon Beach, if they wanted to do the market, they couldn't with the criteria. Because they don't make anything.
They're not making any of it,
No.
I'm sure.
No, they're not.
Let's see here. Okay, I'm gonna go back to,
We're just taking their word for it anyway, aren't we?
Not anymore.
Good.
Not,
Yeah.
and not necessarily. I was.
eat my pie. I don't, pie, which I'd love to have a pie vendor back.
Pie
That
lady.
would be
Pie
good.
Lady still
Yeah.
in town?
What happened to pie lady?
But what's interesting is this is not fruit pie.
Oh,
This is
Savory.
specializing in New York style Sicilian desserts and savory favorites. Our menu is a celebration of tradition, flavor, and quality. We're excited to share these beloved flavors.
So pizza pie.
So we.
No, it's
we should-
Sicilian.
we should
So ricotta
probably-
pie.
we should-
Yeah, Shadons.
This would be someone that
differentiate that.
I want to talk to that
you
one.
and I probably need to check, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Before we bring anybody in.
It's a great thing though. That's so cool.
Okay, this person I would love to bring into, the only thing I worry about is if we get so restrictive, then we lose a bunch of vendors. Because there is let me just go down the list really quick. Esotico Pasta. I haven't even looked at them yet because we have the pasta person in Astoria. I need to find out. From Grapes and Olives,
Yeah, we had Esotico and I bought that. I really liked their pasta and I could get it at some, National Groceries or whatever. Also, I'm not sure that it's okay, but I would love to have that back.
Great White
And it
Cookhouse,
seemed like they were popular too.
GD's Kitchen, she makes pasta sauce. I think she's just getting started, but here's something that when I looked at her, what she said,
There's a food safety element here.
What's that?
She's making her own pasta sauces to sell.
Sunday gravy is what she calls it, and I know she dropped some off at the
Oh, I
wine
met, she
shack.
was here last year, wasn't she? We saw her somewhere.
How do we?
We had a whole Sunday gravy
how do we deal
conversation.
with that with the health department?
Well, what part of my job is to call them, find
Yeah.
out, get their permits, you know, how you're
Yeah.
making it, you know, you permitted to do canning yourself, all that. I mean, that's,
Kenny's Donut Company, La Posteria, London's Bridge. I don't know what London's Bridge is. Let me find-
pasties.
Hmm?
Pasties,
Are they? Pies,
yep,
cookies and pies.
Yeah.
Okay.
but it's the savory, the pasties, I think they're called.
Pasties. Oh, yeah.
Don't do very well at our.
I would think so.
Lunch.
I would think, yeah.
Let's see, who else do I have here?
It's
lunch crowd, except
Yeah.
I'm like thinking, how many calories?
Kenny's Donut
It would make me
Company,
feel-
they're out of Garibaldi. They tried to come in last year, I didn't have room for them, and I think they needed power. So that's the other thing we have to find out is if a vendor
Oh,
needs
yes,
power,
yes,
we don't
yes,
have it.
yes.
Merlet Herb
Is that
Farm
just across the board or is it all taken?
is all taken.
It's all taken.
Papa's Sunflower Seeds, that's the one I'm gonna let in. I just haven't figured out how many days. Plum Tummy Gardens, Stamford Cheese Northwest, would love to have a cheese person again.
It'd
Yeah.
be good to have cheese back, yeah.
The Realm Roasters, I assume they're coffee, and I'm not gonna have two coffee.
Yeah,
People.
oh, yeah.
I mean, it might say in the handbook where it does say it's under the discretion of how many of one product. I believe it may be in the handbook, so we can look at that.
Okay.
Pretty
I
sure
got
that
a
was.
question.
But when
put in
you only
there.
have one coffee person, if that, I mean, so I would say that's great if they're committing to the whole market. But if they're
They
gonna,
are.
only gonna take, well, so use them as an example.
Yeah.
If the coffee's them, I'll do 3,
Mhm.
and somebody else in line said I'll do all of them, I would take the one that's doing all of them.
Yeah.
Because you want the continuity.
Right. Zigzag microgreens. So these are the ones that what we'll need to do, Bob, is we'll need to
Get together.
look through and figure these out. I was just trying to give all my previous vendors last minute chances to get in if they
Okay.
wanted, and so that's where we're at right now.
Good.
So,
Okay.
so literally we have enough people who have applied to fill our market.
Good.
That's a great list. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember when we couldn't, we
Yeah,
weren't sure.
Exactly, yeah. And I don't see it as stable yet either, every
Mhm.
time I have come.
Well, and a lot of them see how they do,
Yeah.
they're like, it doesn't work for me because, I didn't, like, I thought for Papa's Sunflower Seeds, I was like, are you sure? And he was like, oh, yeah, I love your market. It's great. So,
Well, that's the other squishy piece that's hard to identify. Like you go through that list and we make a decision and we think, oh, that would never work here. And we're like, it's incredible. And then something you think definitely is needed, it never works here.
right.
So how do you, but again, if our demographic is the tourist who's going back and looking for something to eat at night, is I don't know, I can't even think of something. It's, the coffee goes well, but I mean, the smoked salmon goes well, but a raw piece of fish, they can't
Right.
use that in their hotel room.
Well, and it's even back to flowers, I take flowers camping, and I mean, well, I do. And I was like, and that's the one thing I'm like, I'm surprised somebody that's in a hotel room or even rented a house wouldn't buy flowers.
Yeah, no, I
It's
get
crazy
it.
to
I
me.
get that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but river flowers is a specific kind, like we used to have a different flower vendor that had different flowers.
Mhm.
So
They-
having
they-
two
they had
flowers is
gorgeous
different
flowers.
too.
Yeah.
You know what I
They,
mean?
So that was a
Yeah.
Philomena decision.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of these things of having two of something.
Yeah,
And I don't know if it's because somebody complained, but they didn't come back.
they didn't
So
come back.
we
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about that. Yeah.
How about the stuff we're selling? Are you doing a reorder?
Yeah, I need to do a reorder.
Okay, that's more
What's our number
long
of
sleeve
vendors?
t-shirts.
You know,
Well, it depends because of double booths.
right?
So how many booths?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you in 1 second. There's my map. $34.
That's good number.
What's
34
34 what?
booths.
Oh, really?
Spaces.
Okay,
Mhm.
have we had that many before?
And I
That
had,
sounded like a big number.
well, if Greenville signs up again, 1, 2, 3, 4 that do doubles.
What doubles?
4 vendors take double booths.
Oh, okay.
Actually, 5 vendors take double booths because Malia's.
River Sea or whatever it's called.
That's 40.
Yeah,
Do we have
Which one?
40?
Mountains to
40?
out
Rivers,
in the river.
they haven't signed up yet.
Okay, but do they take two when they?
They take 1.5 and because they
Okay.
never know what kind of produce they have. And Cranberries
yeah.
kind of does the same thing.
Yeah, he's just sort of
Mhm.
like,
Yeah,
So we could have fewer vendors, but 40 booths total. I mean, what somebody's taking. two-
no, well, no, the 34 is not counting the doubles.
Right, that's what I was, but you said there are 40 booths.
No, I said 34.
Oh,
Didn't I?
I think she said 34.
what's the 40 then? You just said.
Maybe when I said 4, you heard 4.
Mm.
That's when you heard. I'd love to have 40. Okay, so I need to get y'all the handbook. Bob, we need to talk about new vendors. Then the last thing on the agenda, before I go to the order, is just the new permitting fees. So one thing that we tried to do last year was charge an application fee. I think this is part of our discussion from our last meeting, but because Seaside and Nestor, all the management market people charge an application fee, but they pay it online. They can do everything, pay for their booth, pay everything online. We can't do that because we're city thing. So I met with Tim and Nisa, and what we've decided to do is we raised, and I couldn't change the fee structure exactly without going back to council. So what we did was we just rolled in that, they approved the application fee. So we rolled in that application fee into the overall yearly fee. And that it was $350 and now it's $375, which takes the
So it's just one
application
thing and
fee.
it's done online.
No, can't do it online.
No.
They still have to pay.
So everybody pays?
Yep.
Yep.
And we also raised the daily to 40. And we have said that if they sign up for every date, then they need to pay that reduced rate in advance, instead of this, you know,
Good.
if they want that reduced rate.
Yeah, oh, yeah, it gets collegiate.
That's good.
Good.
So that was 35 and we upped that to 40 to kind of, it's a way better deal if you just pay for the season.
Okay.
Anyway, that's all I have. Is there anything for the good of the
No,
order?
You and I need to get together.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it sounds like you're on top of it with the volunteers. You've
Mhm.
got enough people coming back.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Lisa's the only one who's a maybe.
And Hank,
And who?
Hank.
I know, no Hank.
No.
I know. But she's
Johnson?
actually gonna
Oh,
talk.
Hank the dog, remember
Yeah.
the mascot?
No.
She's actually maybe gonna talk to Marianne Sinkler about fostering and having a foster dog come to the market.
Just.
Yeah.
We could always have my dog. We know what would happen.
Yeah, that has to be well behaved.
Puppy.
Luna's not coming.
I want a puppy.
All right, well, I think I'm gonna move that we adjourn.
Okay,
Good.
second.
Second.
Three of
Yes.
us.
Hey.
Second,
And see how I turn this.
it's lunchtime, right?
Yeah.
And